Hi everyone, we're back. Leighton Levy and I are here from the Mr. Analyst channel. Wonderful week, a track and field weekend, all week, however you want to talk about it, Leighton.
Yeah.
Things on the track, on the field, things
And
off the track.
Off the
Yeah.
track. Yeah, and all involving speed.
Everything is about speed, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but I think we should start with Millrose games because there are some really good performances there, from a Caribbean perspective and also from a global perspective. So we can start there. I mean, the Wanamaker miles were interesting. Nikki Hiltz, and
Yeah.
of course, what's his name? Hall. Is it Hall?
Cameron Hall,
One- the one that
Cameron
make-
Myers,
yeah.
rather. Cameron Myers.
Myers, sorry, yeah.
Mhm.
And remember we spoke about Ackeem Blake's strength program this year,
Mm.
and I see it paying off. Danielle Williams wins again. It was a great weekend. And of course, we have to talk about Shaune Miller's 35.79, which
Yeah.
pushes Dejanea Oakley's 35.94 down to second place now in the world in terms of rankings. But so a lot of exciting things happening the weekend from a track and field perspective. We'll try to get through all of that in the next 59 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody join in as usual. I mean, over on our channel and on Leighton's channel, get your comments in, and we'll get there. I guess we should start with the Cam Myers skin since you brought up the Wanamaker mile. 3:47.57. It's a world leading time. I think it might be. Is it? I'm not sure if it's a under 20 record too. It could be. The kid is outrageous. He's been running well all season. And it's a quality field at Yardna Goose, who's the defending champion, who last year broke the world record there before Inga Britson went ahead and broke it like a couple weeks after, I think. Hobbs Kessler, Nico Young, Andrew Kosker. How do you think about this, especially youngsters like coming at a major event like this and just doing some big stuff?
Well, the key thing for this kid is that he didn't have any pressure on him. Nobody was looking at him.
Right.
And, his PB before this was what was it?
I can't even remember off the top of my head. We can search for it, yeah.
Yeah, but clearly he's been doing a lot of over distance work in the off season because he looks pretty strong. And the key thing for me is the timing of his run. Because when the Goose and Ting were up front, he just kind of tucked in and said, and then he timed his run perfectly. I mean, I think Negus probably went out a little bit too early and ran out of gas. And he took advantage of all of that. I mean, he's running under no pressure. He had a race plan and executed perfectly. I thought it was a really good race. I mean, he said he was expecting a 3:45 time.
Right.
So he was probably prepared for that kind of pace and handled it pretty well because 3:47 is 2 seconds off what he was expecting. So he probably had a lot more energy coming home than what he would have expected at that 3:45 pace.
It looked that way to me too, especially I think his last 200. He was really motoring. I think he's been having a great season because of the Australian summer, as we know. He's been training well, and then he was at New Balance. I think was it New Balance. He was all over the place last week and running here and there. So. I mean, the kid is in great shape. I don't know what it means for him outdoors, but it's certainly really good stuff.
But he still looked like he had a lot left in the tank when he crossed the line. It didn't look like he was expending it at all. His form was solid. He wasn't swimming. He was actually quite relaxed in the last 50, 60 meters when you expected him to kind of be, stressed a little bit, especially given the field behind him. You would have thought that he would have been probably a little bit more stressed, but he wasn't. He was very comfortable at the end. It looks like he could have gone another 200 meters pretty easily.
No, I think so too. I think he was calm and collected, and for kids to be doing this, and you think about the kids from that region, Oceania. You think about Sam Ruthe too. We can touch on him in a second. He's been breaking world records every week too, as well. So they're doing something special, especially with those kids, and it's great. Yeah.
Look, one of the things with South Africa and Australia is that they get an early start to what is long seasons for them. So them running fast this early is not really surprising. The issue is, do they last until the end of the regular track and field circuit on the western side of the world, where the season extends into September, holding that kind of form for that long is a challenge. And I think we've seen that over the years. I mean, which is one of the reasons why we moved to the USA after a while, because the seasons was too long. And of course, when the World Championships or Olympics were in the summer, it was easier. But then now, the last few years, later and later, we see people meets running into September into October. So then the energy starts to dissipate as it gets later on in the season, as opposed to being maybe 6 months or 3 months earlier in June and July. So that's one of the challenges that those athletes face. And well, somebody is going to eventually figure out how they do that in terms of pacing themselves through the season. Instead of running fast now and not running fast when it really counts. Because World Indoor Championships is probably the biggest trophy this early in the season. But as you know, World Championships are kind of overlooked for the most part. So you want to be going to the summer and and doing the big things there, as opposed to early in the season when it's really just coming out of indoors.
Yeah, and from now on, everything ends in September, whether it's the Ultimate Championship, whether it's the World Championships moving forward. And I think they do a better job on the distance and the field events that way. But when you think about, like, Akini Sambini is the classic example. Like, they tried to figure it out last year and it never quite worked out the right way in the end. It's a kind of, I think for the sprinters, sometimes it's a bigger deal, but
it's hard, because you're expending more energy per race. And the thing about it, there's less issue with speed distribution. The thing about what I think the South Africans can probably do, and the Australians as well, is probably change their cycle a little bit more, a little bit, maybe start the background work a little later, so that when they're starting to get into spikes, it's early January or February, as opposed to December, January, when they're running fast. Everybody else in the world is just beginning to get into their seasons. So that's probably one of the issues that they need to address.
Quite possibly. Yeah, so no, it was good running, and for him to beat the big guys, it's a special moment. We had a couple other youngsters there, but before we get to that, quickly, Nikki Hiltz, 4:03.61. Not the kind of race that we anticipated. Got last minute withdrawal from Ellie St. Pierre, who we probably was going to win that hands down. But in the end, she ran really well. Ahead of Jessica Hull, 4:03.72, who Hull is a world-class athlete.
Yeah, and that was a nice race, because she and Hull separated from the field and did their own thing. But we saw Nikki Hiltz here in Jamaica last year at the Grand Slam track. And, what we do know of her is that she has fire in her belly. She will put out a good fight. Even if she's not in the best of shape, she's put out a good fight. And we saw that today. And it paid off in the end, because I think she does seem to have, her strategy, I think, was a little bit better than everybody else's, where she was able to conserve a lot more, and then really just let everything out the last 200 plus meters, and then separated from the field along with Hull, who was chasing. But Nikki's speed, we know she has good speed.
Right.
I think that made the difference, prevented Hull from catching her, because as we know, Hull is a strong runner. But I don't think she's as fast as, I say, a Keely Hodgkinson or any other British runners who are, 800, 1,500 people who are a little bit quicker than she is. I think she depends more on speed endurance and
the pacing,
and pacing, So maybe that was the difference there. But I think it was a good race from Nikki. I think she ran really well. She was in control. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, no, it's true, and. In fairness to Hull, I mean, she has good closing speed. We've seen it in World Championships and Olympic Games in the past, but it's probably not as. It's clearly it's not there at the moment, or we'll see. Maybe when she hooks up with Faith Kipiegan again or so, we'll get a better sense of what's going on. And before people correct us, because we try to remember things on the fly. Last week, clearly, Cam Myers had done the world lead in the 3,000 at New Balance at 7:27.57. I just want to put that out there before people get on us. Like, at the end, track and field is like a lifetime now, with the results coming quick and fast.
Yeah, and there are many meets. There are hundreds of meets going on, so it's sometimes it's hard to process.
To keep up with all of that. We jump to the 600, and I'll talk to the 800 quickly, and we can go into some other things that people want to talk. So Cooper. And maybe you can put it in context with even what we saw with Navaski Anderson when people were excited yesterday. Cooper Lutkenhaus broke on the scene last year, got to the World Championships, didn't quite work out, but as a 16-year-old kid to make a major games, we cannot be critical of him. And he comes back, drops a 1:14.15, which is a world lead, which I believe is a under 20 record.
World under 20 record, yeah.
Yeah. And my take is that he didn't run it the way he probably wanted, because I think the Jewett was pushing him a bit wide at points in the race. McIver was doing his thing, and eventually Cooper had enough and he ran a bit wide, got into the lead, wins this comfortable 1:14.15. The kid has no limits at this moment. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he is scary, because the ease at which he destroyed that field, the ease at which he dominated. I mean, look, the first 5 or 6 guys were under 150. I think our first 4, I think, were under 150.
Yeah,
the
here
first
we were getting excited about 115. Jewett was 115.
Oh yeah, first 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yesterday we were getting excited about Navaske's 118, which is a new national record for Jamaica. 118. I tried to remember the time here. 118. Where is it? I had it written down here somewhere. 218.56. 218.56. And we are here getting excited about the 1,000 meters in a way in which, look, in real terms, it's a really good time. I mean, it's a 25-year-old record that he broke. That was set in February 2000 by Mario Vernon Watson. But this kid running 114 that's a 141 PS 800.
Yeah.
Because even if he runs the last 226, that's 140 and change. So potentially, if he has the strength to hold on for, 200 meters and clock at 26,200, I don't think is unreasonable. Maybe 28. Yeah. But the thing about it, you're looking at he ran 142 last year. So maybe he's in shape to run 141 this season, given the ease at which he ran this race. Because he did not look like he was pressed any at all, and was comfortably ahead and won easily. And his speed and endurance are remarkable. And that's one of the things one of the best benefits that I think he has when it comes to the 800. Because clearly the 600 is 200 meters too short for him, because he doesn't look stressed. When I watch these guys running on the first 200, holding the pace for the speed for the first 200, I didn't see the splits, but I'm thinking he probably run 22.
So I think his first was 24.16, and then
24.16, yeah.
Then it was 24.38, then 25.61, which is a good second better than everybody
ridiculous.
else, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What the world record is? What, 112?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I have to check. Yeah. It's crazy.
And given his age, given the fact that his body is still developing, given the fact that he's still early doors in terms of his career, this kid is phenomenal. I mean, we talked about him last year. We thought the World Championships were a little bit early for him last year. But clearly, by the time Beijing rolls around next year, he's going to be among the contenders for medals, certainly if he continues to progress the way we've seen it progress in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, you have to think he will make the U.S. team. I mean, given what we've seen right now. Yeah, the world record is 1:12.84 from Josh Howe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy. No. He is phenomenal. I'm impressed. I mean, and very impressed.
Yeah. No, I was impressed last year, even more so, and it feels like he belongs. It's one of those athletes that it definitely feels like he belongs. Just Owen Kane on your channel says he has 141 shape, 800 meter shape for now on your channel. Yeah, we agree with that. Yeah. I think the most surprising race, because when I was doing the watch along, someone on the live asked me what was the most surprising thing for me at Millrose, and I had to point to Colin Sahlman running 144.70, which is a PB for him, the kid out of Northern Arizona.
By 3 seconds.
Yeah, in flat.
By 3 seconds.
I never saw that. I didn't see that coming. I don't know if anybody saw that coming. I mean, he was way back last year in terms of the ranking in NCAAs. I don't think he factored at all, to be honest with you. And now,
but I think. Go ahead.
No. Yeah.
No, I think he tipped his hand as to how that happened. He said he was running 10,000 steeplechase early in the season.
Right.
When you're running 10,000 steeplechase, are you running that kind of distances early in your season? Clearly, the 800 is not going to be an issue for you.
Yeah.
Because you're pushing 10,000 meters on a regular. Because if you're training for 10,000 cross country, the stuff, the over distance work that you have to do is to prepare is incredible. So, given the fact that clearly he has good speed as well, going into 800 and running 144 indoors, is the thing that for me, the thing for me is that he took 3 seconds off his PB.
Yeah,
that's a massive drop. No matter how you cut it, it's a massive drop. So kudos to him for doing that. But it's clearly a lot of work went into making that happen, because his speed is there, the speed endurance is there. And again, he was one of those who won very comfortably as well against a quality field.
Yeah, against Mohamed Atoui, who ran 144.98, who I thought picked up the pace, tried to push it, and just didn't have it.
He went too early.
Yeah.
He went way too early. And Josh Carr, I think...
You mean Patterson was there too, and Donovan?
Yeah, sorry, I'm mixing up races. Yeah, but the thing about it is that again, it comes down to timing. Pacing and timing is something that I think is essential in these middle distance races. And if you can position yourself to be just off the pace that you're comfortable with, and then push to the end, this kid just demonstrated that works very well.
Right. Yeah, I would say too, let me ask you on this. Would you be concerned about Bryce Hopples? Because last year he just never delivered the way we thought he would. And then 147 today, that's way off his kind of standards. Donovan Brazier had 145.63. I thought he was trying to push early, but probably too early too. Yeah, is it something to be concerned about? Or just because it's a non-championship year for the Americans, it doesn't matter?
I think so, because look, if you had a terrible year last year, you would have been hoping to at least open in the new season with something that will give you some kind of confidence going forward.
Right.
That isn't happening. He looks as bad as he did last year, which tells me that maybe there's something going on with him that we are not aware of. But clearly, he doesn't look the part anymore for some reason. I don't know if he's coming off an injury, or he's carrying an injury, or his program has changed in some way that his body's not responding the way it's supposed to.
Right.
So, you have to wonder whether or not something has gone wrong with his program, or something has gone wrong with his health, or a combination of both, because he doesn't look the part anymore. I mean,
he doesn't look like the 141.67 guy from the Olympic Games who made history in a sense to run that fast and never find his way on a podium, So, So
it's crazy.
I don't know. Quickly a few of the other events there. Danielle Williams again, back-to-back weeks looking really comfortable. I thought in the last 3 hurdles or so, she just clearly took over the race in good nick, right?
Yeah, it's their third win now in as many races. 797, I think it was. What she opened 797, and then she has 787, and then 790.
790 today, 796 to Charlton. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at a situation where I think, when you look at the race, the first 3 hurdles were terrible, but clearly it seems to me like her flat speed is getting better, or has improved, because from hurdle number 3 to the line, she just took over that race, blew past Devynne Charlton like she wasn't moved, she wasn't there. You're talking about the world record holder here, and she's beaten her now twice in the same way, running from behind and running past her. She looks really good. And I mean, when I spoke to Lance Graham a few weeks ago, that video is on my channel. They were working out the indoor circuit, and looking at what they're going to do outdoors. But so far this year, I don't think they can be disappointed about what has happened so far. I think she looks really good. She looks really fast. And, she's like one of the old ladies of the sprint hurdles, and she's running like she's aging backwards. She's clearly, Lennox clearly has her on a program now that has her, getting better year after year after year, regardless of however she's aging.
Right.
And that her confidence clearly coming from the first 2 races this season would have given her some confidence to come in here and believe that she could win, and she did that today.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that they have to go to World Indoor Championships. I mean, at least, get on that team, because that's a gold medal in the mix to be had. Obviously it's going to be competitive, but she's the standout so far. Christina Clemens looked good too, I thought, at different points in that race. Megan looked much better than last week. I'm not sure how happy she would be with this performance. But
she's
your thoughts on
happier.
Megan Simmons?
She's happier. I spoke to her after the race. She's happier. She said she's getting there. So, you would have to believe. I mean, she did start well. I think she got to the first 2 hurdles, but then, the field caught her, which is something that used to happen. So, it's a new program for her. So maybe, her body's still getting used to that. So, but she's a lot happier than she was last week when she said she was embarrassing and disappointing.
Right.
So 802 is a significant improvement on 821. Yeah, 804, sorry, they definitely improved on 821 that she did last week. So, in a couple of weeks' time, I think she's probably racing again. So we'll see what happens.
Right. So maybe by then sub 8 seconds, and she probably will be happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also Anika Wilson in the race to Denisha Cartwright, if we think about from a Caribbean standpoint.
Anika is in her senior year at Clemson.
Yeah.
I think probably Lennox had her there because I think she probably wanted to kind of sensitize her to what it feels like on the senior circuit. Right. I mean, she is a back-to-back ACC champion. She was 5th in the NCAAs last year. So I think it's a work in progress for her. I think this is a good experience for her as well. I think the time was pretty slow. I think it was 8:21. I think, or I don't know what the time it was
for her.
Yeah,
8:12. Yeah,
8:12. Yeah. Well, I know it was the Knicks they're taking over. Yeah, but she,
age.
But she, are both. Yeah, but I don't think she'd be terribly happy with the performance. I don't think she didn't get to the hurdles quickly enough.
Right.
I don't think she was snapping down aggressively enough. Because I watched the race back on a rewind, and I don't think she'd be happy with the execution. But 8:12 is not a terrible time, but at the same time, not a great time either. I mean, she run 7:95 before.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't be particularly happy with the time, and maybe she has some things that she's working on. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her since season started, so I'll probably reach out to her tomorrow and see what she says.
Right. I mean, if anything, she's mixing it up with the season pros, and that you can't discount the kind of level of experience that provides. Christina Mullings on your channel says, good evening. She says it's a good day for Jamaica. I think that's probably a good way to transition. But before we transition to another Jamaican victory, let's stick with the hurdles. Last week, we watched New Balance. We saw Danielle Roberts and Cordell Tinch finishing way down, look pretty rusty. This time, the 2025 world champion over 110-meter hurdles got back to a season best performance, 7:52, looking smooth and took control. Your thoughts?
He didn't start well again, but then mid-race he just surged. I think he learned from the experience of the last meet and thought, this is not going to happen again. I'm Cordell Tinch, I'm world champion, I'm a 1287 guy. These guys are not supposed to be beating me, and just took over the race. I mean, from the second or third hurdle, he kind of just took charge. He was coming from behind, but clearly you could see him getting stronger each hurdle and won comfortably. So I think he said that he's not going to be hurdling for the remainder of the indoor season. So maybe it's a good way to end. He says he's going to do a long jump for the remainder of the indoor season. So we'll see.
I mean, it would be nice to see him to try to go to the World Indoor Championships, but I guess he's not that interested then.
Maybe not this year. Ultimate Championships coming up. Maybe that's where his mind is at, because that's where the money is.
Yeah. Connor Shulman looked good, 7:57, and Daniel Roberts kind of bounced back, 7:61. I think Jamal Britt had a kind of a fall at the end, but it wasn't a bad race. Yeah.
No, but the last hurdle and then tumbled. But that happens in the hurdle, so that's not really surprising. Especially given, because he won last time out, didn't he?
Last week? No, last week it was.
Who won last week?
No, it was Trey. Wasn't it Trey who
won? Okay, Trey Cunningham won last week, Yeah.
Shrey
So
ran last week.
ran 7:42, I think it was. He ran
7:48 last week. And Brit ran
half of the times today.
7:54 for third last week. Yeah.
So,
All right,
but
go ahead.
Go on, finish. Go, move on.
No, okay. Let's talk about 60 meters. Start with the women first. Dina Asher-Smith once again following up. 3 victories, you would say, but 2 major victories from last week to this week. 7:10 ahead of Jasia Sears, 7:12. And Mariah Maxwell, who we should give props to because she ran earlier in the day too. Looks like a super talent there. 7:26. Kemba Nelson out of Jamaica finally running 7:28. Your thoughts?
Dina is staying close to her PB of 7:03, so I don't think she'll be overly sad about not getting there. I mean, I think it's a long time. She says she's going world indoors, so maybe she's working to peak there as opposed to no. So 7:10 and 7:08. I don't think she had much to complain, but she didn't look bad. And she, her closing speed was pretty good as well today, holding off Sears, who, as we know, a 10:77 sprinter outdoors. So Jesus is somebody who would push her and she held on. So, good race for her. I'm not particularly impressed with Kim, but she still looks sluggish. I don't know. Since she left Baylor, I don't know. She didn't look good here when she was
Oregon,
here at the lead.
Right?
Yeah. Oregon. What's going on with my brain today?
No, it's all good. It's all good. At least we're here.
Yeah, she was at Oregon. Yeah. And remember, she and Julian had that big battle in the NCAAs. But I don't know, she doesn't look like a 10-year sprinter that we know she is. Yeah. She looks sluggish. Her start wasn't great. Her acceleration was not there any at all. And 7:28 speaks to that.
Yeah.
So, she's at a new program now, so having left. So let's see what happens. Maybe these areas will probably tell her where she's at in terms of her training with no intention of probably winning or anything. But I looked at her race and I wasn't particularly impressed with it. But it's early doors yet.
The same. I didn't get a good sense of the race, and I should have watched it again to get a better look. But you look at Kemba Nelson now. It's not an indictment on her or anything because I know she went through some level of injury, objectivity, saying she only won 10:8 once. But there is ability there. I think she is an athlete that should be running sub 10.9s consistently. I don't know how far is her ceiling, but she should be actively always trying to make a Jamaica at least a relay team for and in this type of cycle, you never know.
She has plateaued since college, and in fact, that even plateaued, she's gone backwards because and I just said she's had her injury issues, and we have to take that into consideration because it provides proper context. But clearly, she was here 3 years in Jamaica, I think. She hasn't done anything to suggest that she's ready to take on the senior works again.
Right.
It's not that I'm being critical here. I'm just trying to understand why is it that she has not made the advances. Because as I've said repeatedly, and I've said it here, the transition from amateur ranks to the pro ranks is not easy. It takes time. But I don't see in her the progress incrementally that suggests that she's going to get back to that 10-year that she's run once. Yeah, she's run it once, but if she's done it once, it means she can probably do it again. But we haven't seen anything to suggest that she can. And that's for me the worrying sign for her. Yeah,
I agree on that. And I do hope she gets to live the career out because I think she's a good athlete and she performed well. She was part of that World Championships in Oregon, right? She was there too, and
she ran lead off. So
haven't seen the best of her since.
So I don't know. She doesn't talk much, so you really don't know what's going on with her. So we're left to speculate, which is not necessarily the best thing to do. But on the face of it, based on what we see, just right now things don't seem to be happening. Maybe it will happen later on this season going into next year. But on the evidence of what we've seen in the race today and what we saw last year and the year before that, it seems as if she's hit a wall for whatever the reason is. And that's a wall that she needs to clear before she can probably then progress to being the athlete that we know she can be.
Cool. All right. Well, guys, thanks everyone so far coming on the channel. And I see you got some comments over there. We'll try to get a few of your comments there. Keep them going. A guy who had a deal last week, as we said, got a new sponsorship, new looking good in the black, ran out at New Balance, won, came back again. Ackeem Blake, 655 today. He looks in his element. Benitez, I thought, as well, ran really well. A Puerto Rican athlete, back-to-back weeks, 660 for him. Jordan Anthony, 664. Brian Level in 5th position, sharing the same time as Miles Lewis, 666, but it's broken down to 6655 to 658. Your thoughts on those guys? Ackeem Blake racking up back-to-back wins.
Yeah, look, Ackeem got a terrible start, and it speaks to, I remember I told you that he seems to be a lot more confident now. And he said as much. You heard him after the race. The thing is that, and as he said, as I alluded to the last time we spoke, that he's a lot stronger now. And you saw him really surge through the field after getting an ordinary start. In fact, I would say a poor start. For Brian Level, well, Benitez is consistent. The same thing happened to him last week. Ackeem just run past him because I think Ackeem is just faster. And Brian Level, I wouldn't worry too much about that. He's not a good starter. This indoors is not something that he does. He ran a 60-meter a couple of weeks ago at GC Foster and ran 656 or 650 something. But that was with a 1.2 win. So now that he's running indoors and he's not familiar with running indoors. So what his performance was, 66 for me is not a terrible performance. I think the more he gets used to that environment, I think he'll do better. Because I think I get the impression Shanik is trying to work on his start and his first 50. For the 100 primarily, I think. Because I think for the 200, I think he's okay. I think for the 200, where he is weaker in the 200 is last 50, I think. That's something that's going to be worked on, I think, over the next year or so before he gets into Beijing. So this, I think, is just working on his start. And I think one of the things that I noticed, he got straight up out of the blocks, which is not ideal when you're running the season. I think that comes from just the lack of experience. So I think as time passes, he'll be better. Jordan Anthony, it's hard to gauge him because he runs 975 in world at NCAAs. He's now gone pro. And I think probably Lance has him breaking him down to build him back up. And I think that's what we're seeing with him because he doesn't look as fast, he doesn't look as sharp. But I think as the season progresses, I think we'll probably see more of him. Not necessarily indoors, but certainly outdoors. I think because Lance takes time, like most good coaches.
Right.
They take time to build you the way in which they think you should be built. And I think because clearly he's fast. You don't run 975 and not be fast. So I think for me, this is just, I think, part of the process for him, learning to run the different phases of the race, that he can be consistently fast at the senior level. So
yeah, and he has to do it back to back, and it's not a joke. You can't just pull up a one time. It's a totally different situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, some calling is objectivity saying is 975 is a fluke, but the kid is young, so we'll wait. We'll wait to see.
But even if it's a fluke, he did it. So
yeah,
the fact that he's able to do it means that the potential is there for him to do it. Whether or not he does it again is another matter. Maybe it'll take him another 2 years before he gets back there, if he gets back there.
Yeah,
I mean, look for example.
What was the win on that? It was like a 2.1, I believe. I have to check it.
Yeah,
there, but it was slightly.
But take Trayvon Brummel for example. Trayvon Brummel ran a win in 974, I think it was when he was in college at Baylor. And he's an injury case. I mean, he's had injury after injury after injury, but he keeps coming back and running fast, which tells you the immense potential that he has. It's just that injuries kept holding him back. With Anthony, I think the transition is beginning for him now from college level to the pros. And I think that's a decent performance given the circumstances.
Yeah, and he's 21. I think he'll be fine. I mean, I don't judge them when they transition from college. We wait. I give him a 2 years at least, and
give him a year or two. Yeah,
and then we can actually have a conversation. But Yeah, it was great to see Ackeem Blake go back to back. You mentioned him looking stronger. A lot of people are talking about that. He has to get better because the landscape, as we mentioned on the last live, has changed in the Jamaican context. There's no guarantee that he'll make the individual team unless there's, obviously he could make the team because Oblique will have the bye in China, but but not automatically. And you think about LA the year after, so he has to start running consistently better, right? 9.8s, and who knows if he can go better than that.
When I saw him today talking about he feels like he can run right through 161, 200,
right?
You look in his eyes and what you see is almost like an awakening, where he's seeing now the possibility of what he can do once he maintains his diet, his strength program, and keep that consistent. I think he's beginning to see now the benefits of that. And I think when you looked in his eyes today, you saw this like, yeah, it's happening. It's possible. I can do this. And he said it post-race. And I think, if he's selected, the word is that if he's selected, he's going to World Indoors. And as far as I hear, he's running under the load now. If he's doing that, and if they taper him off for World Indoors, who knows? Run 6'4", 6'4" could possibly put him on the podium. 6'4" could actually have him win as well. So, so let's see what happens in the next few weeks leading up to when J3 is announces their team for World Indoors and whether or not Ackeem Blake is on it, and more importantly, what he does between now and that time. If he runs faster, then the sign is going to be there that, I'm ready for maybe win gold in World Indoors. So let's see.
And perhaps he might just try to finish out the indoor season, because the World Indoor Gold Tour continues, and there's sizable cash in terms of, it's not the same money you get on the Diamond League, but you get, it's $40,000, and if you do, you get some extra money here and there. So it's not a bad payday, I imagine, given the grand scheme of track and field and the payment.
You make the money where you can make the money, so it's what it is.
Yeah. All right. So that was probably Millrose. If we miss anything, just ask us in the comments. I want to go to a space where it's a great space, because it's never good when you see 400 meters and you don't call the Bahamians in some capacity. And Shaune Miller-Uibo is officially back, Leighton. I don't think there's a side way we can say it. 35.79, literally running by herself because no one was there. That puts her, I think her PB is 35.45. So to come back, to drop that, there's only a few athletes have run much faster than that over the short track for 300 meters.
I think 5 or 6 athletes have run faster than that, and she's among those 5 who's run exactly. 5 ever who's run faster. And her outdoor best is 34.4. Yeah, look, when we saw the Bahamian trials last year, what we saw was an athlete that clearly, what we didn't know then was that she was just coming off of having a child.
Right.
No, it's been 8 months, so she's clearly in shape. And you look at her first 200, she clearly has that speed again. Right? She was swimming a little bit the last 50, but 35.79 puts her in the world lead ahead of Dejanea Oakley, who ran 51.1 yesterday as well.
Right.
So you can see that Shaune clearly is trending back towards 48 outdoors, in a time when 48 is necessary, because now it's not just 2 women doing it anymore, it's 3 and possibly more, because if Nikisha Price and what's her name ran at one at NCAA last.
Her name.
I can't remember her name now, but she won at NCAA's last year and ran 49.09, leading up to the World Championships. Alia Butler,
right?
Yeah. So so if she's coming back to run, to maybe go through another cycle, clearly she's ready. to take on that battle because 35.79 is fast. So she is ready to run. And I watched that race about 5 times before we came on this evening, and the first 200 was really quick. She looked really strong.
Upright too.
Yeah. And she wasn't struggling, and she was driving right through the line for this run. Even though I thought the last 15 looked like she was swimming a little bit, but still, 35.79 is pretty close to our indoor PB of 35.45. I think it was, or 35 or somewhere 35.4 somewhere. Yeah. And so she looks clearly now ready to get back into the thick of things outdoors.
No, yeah, you're correct. It's 35.45. Yeah, she looks good, and we want to see it. It's also a good year for it to happen. It could be a year where she decides to, tinker around. I'm sure she'll be a big draw at any of the Diamond League. So it's I think it's all good. And if she can stay healthy,
Yeah, because look, she ran 3 races last year in real terms. 51.2. She ran 223 and change, and she ran 111.6. Clearly, she wasn't ready to run fast then because she's still, coming out of childbirth. Her child was probably 6 months old by then. But no, she's had more time to build on that. And of course, this is something to build on for this season and next season and the season after that. I mean, I know she told me that 2024 is going to be her last Olympics, but because it didn't happen the way she wanted to, I think she probably wants to do a Shelly and end on her own terms.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe LA 28 is where she's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 years. I wouldn't put it past Shaune. You can never count her out. It would be crazy if she went to LA and found her way on a medal podium, but we'll wait for that. We have a lot of time to think about that. You mentioned Dejanea Oakley. Athlete we have a lot of time for. 51.11. Yeah, what can we say?
Look, she's clearly now believing in herself in a way in which I think will manifest in very positive ways, positive results for her. 35.94 in the 300, 51.1 in her first 400 for the season, I think it is.
Right.
Clearly she looks like she's ready to challenge that 49.65 PB that she had outdoors last year. And if she does that, maybe she's trending into low 49s or high 48s by the time the season ends, by the time NCAA is outdoors, and she's probably ready to run 48 again. What we do know, based on what we've seen from the coaching at Georgia, I mean, Adija Hodge run 7.16 and then ran 22.5. We've seen Oakley, we've seen Sha'Carri Foot run 51. 51.5.
51.5.
Yeah. So clearly there's something doing well at Georgia with the women there, especially the women there. And I think when I spoke to Dejanea last year, I spoke to her early this season. I mean, showed that videos on my channel as well. You can sense the confidence that she has, especially having gone to the World Championships and come back with a silver medal. She didn't run well in the flat 4 because she was, as she said, I think she alluded to, she was tired. But you can see now that the belief system is in place. It's set. And this was the fastest time. I think this is the fastest 400 indoor short track time in the world this year so far.
The last time I checked, it could have changed. Who knows?
Yeah, so
it might be.
So she's number 2 now in the 300, number 1 in the 400. That confidence is going to translate into SECs and indoor nationals. And as long as she's healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if she runs 50 point or 49 indoors this season. So because she's trending along those lines as well. So it's good to see her run well, and I'm really happy for her. And I get the sense that these next 2 to 3 years are going to be very big for her in terms of her career, because she's obviously she's going to go pro at the end of the season. That's what she said when we interviewed her on my channel a few weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, she's already had.
Always go back and check those videos. Leighton has a bunch of great interviews on his channel, so you check them out when you can.
Yeah, and she has an NIL deal with On, and obviously she's going pro with them. So obviously, and as we know, On is getting into the track circuit a little bit better, a little bit more aggressively now. So I think she's going to be somebody to look out for in the outdoor season. Whether or not she's going to be ready to challenge for medals, maybe not this year, but
Right.
certainly within the next 2 years, if she continues to progress the way we've seen her for the last, since she went to Georgia, by the way, then she left Texas and went to Georgia, the improvement has been like that.
Yeah.
So if she gets to that level where she's continuing to progress along that level in a linear fashion, she could be our next best 400-meter runner. I'm thinking that Nikisha Price is still going to be probably number one.
Right.
After last season, the disappointment of last season. So
But you want a bunch of them. It's only right. I mean, no one deserves anything in terms. But you think about 400-meter and the legacy of Jamaican women. It should be. You should have 3, 4, 5 of them. Challenging for teams.
It doesn't hurt. And Sha'Carri foot 51. Tells me that there's a Crow woman coming through that look like they're ready to join that and there are a couple other women out there who are on the cusp, and Candice McLeod I think is running back into shape. I don't know if she can get back to that 49 low shape that she was in for the Olympics in 2021, but certainly we saw her progress last year after coming off a knee surgery and complications from that knee surgery that prevented her from running as fast as she wanted to. It's like a Crow woman coming together that look like it could be, at least from a relay perspective, certainly a medal contender. I mean, you have Stacey Williams as well as other ladies who are coming through. So, it's going to be more competitive. And I think iron sharpens iron. And I think those Jamaican women who are running well, Stacey ran 49 for the first time last year. So did Dejanea. I'm suspecting that maybe Sha'Carri foot gets there, I should say, not gets back there, but gets at least a 50 point this season. It's a good quartet coming through, so good things could happen in the next year or two.
Sounds good. Speaking of Jamaica, I was just stick there real quickly. Shanice Walker, 709.
Yeah,
that's big deal, right?
Big deal. 716 last year was her PB, and she ran 1098. Was it SEC last year? Navaski just responding to me. I sent her a message today. And
no, they want you to share that message. Just joking.
709 and 2296. Her indoor short track PB from last season was 23:26. That's a big improvement. So I think this is her senior year at FSU. So I'm thinking, I'm almost certain she told me she probably wants to go pro. So this would be a nice step up for her. 709 is among the fastest times in the world this year. I think it's probably top 10 in the world this year. And the 22:96 is a pretty good time indoors because Adeja Hodge, we know, who ran that race in 22:53, is at 22 low. I think she has a world under 20 record for the 200 indoors. So that Shanice was able to be 22:96 and dip below 23 seconds. Tell me that there's a lot of improvement has happened since last season coming into this season. So, maybe she goes faster than 10:98 that she ran last year outdoors, and maybe she goes lower in terms of the 60 meters as the season progresses. I mean, that's to be seen, but certainly it's a positive sign for her going forward for the remainder of the indoor season.
No, you have to love it. You have to love it. All right, we'll get to a couple, probably because we're getting up close to an hour, but let's do a couple of hot ones. We didn't talk about Sam Ruthe, the kid from New Zealand. He's breaking records every week. 17, what is now? He ran 3:48.88 to break that new under 18 world record there for the mile. It's just crazy. And when you think about the context of the mile, only a few top guys that are much better than him. So he's been on the radar since last year. Hannah Moll yesterday, I think, or the day before, 4:88 in the women's pole vault. Our sister has 4:91. I like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, look, this kid is, I don't want to use extremes, but he's kind of like Bolt when Bolt was younger, the way he used to, break through these barriers. The thing is, from all indications, he's going to probably do well on the senior circuit eventually because it looks almost effortless the way he competes. the things that he does at this age tells me that this is a special one in the making. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he stays healthy, because we need, I think the more you have these outstanding youngsters break through the glass ceiling and get to the senior level, I think it brings more excitement to the sport, especially if you're able to challenge the senior athletes, the established athletes. That brings new excitement to the sport. For the pole vault, look, I'm a SNBA kind of person. I always been. I love her. I used to love her watching. Yeah, I used to love watching her compete. But this new couple of youngsters are, while they're not SNBAs, there's a lot of talent going around there. There's a lot of competition in that space. And I think it makes for exciting watching. I mean, when you look at what's happening now, that the marks are not as high as they used to be. We know this.
Right.
I think 5 meters is probably the ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know if we're getting there, but we saw, I think, people getting closer back to 490s, and that is heartening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's heartening. But so while they're battling in this pool, it's exciting to watch, because you know that the pole vault is not going to be a yawn. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be competitive. It's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. So yeah, I'm happy to see that, and it's nice to watch, to see how they progress in the course of the season, because if it continues and it goes to world indoors and it translates to outdoors, it's going to be certainly worth watching.
Certainly, yeah. All right, let's mention a couple more great stuff. I mean, we didn't touch on, I think, Handel Robani. I think he ran 144.91 to break that Penn State record. Veeru from Switzerland drops a 157.49 on the heels of the 157.43. Isabelle Buffet from Great Britain dropped the day before. I don't know. I mean, like it's especially on the women's side too. Those are some really quick times in first outings, especially for Veeru, their first race.
Yeah, look, one of the things that I think we're seeing, and we spoke about this earlier last time, we talked about what to expect from some of these athletes now it's a non-championship year, is that maybe it's a time where they're tweaking stuff, and it's a time when they're trying new things. And clearly whatever they're trying is working, because the performances are exciting. It's one of the tragedies for me about track and field, why it seems not that the fan base is not what it used to be. Because all of these things, to me, we are purists. I mean, we love to watch the sport, but for the observer, those people are on the fringes of the sport and probably watch it every 4 years, every 2 years. They're missing out on some human performance, NBA and NFL and all these things that people talk about all the time. The purest of sports is track and field, because that tells you the true capacity of human performance. And when you look at what these people are doing, it's phenomenal. The enhanced games came up recently. I did a video on that where, Aaron D'Souza is thinking about, people taking stuff and doing, see how far they can push it. I don't think you need to do that. I think tweaking training programs, trying new things in terms of strength, endurance, flexibility. See a lot of athletes using Pilates now and all kind of different things. Try those things and see how they work in terms of enhancing performances on a natural level. So it's exciting to me and you. I just hope that it's exciting to those watching from the fringes.
No, you hope so too. And I don't know how people get into sport, and cause when you get into sport, you have to do a lot more to understand it, right? And think about the history of the sport and just the kind of evolution of a lot of great things there. But yeah, fantastic stuff there. If we missed any of those performances, you let us know. All right. I think the speed kills in different ways. Speed puts you on the map. Yesterday, I was on a live. I did a live, and I said, "Look, the thing that I want from track and field is to be in the headlines. I want track and field to get on every outlet on the planet, but I'd love for it to be because it's for performances and for personality that just really transcend the sport." And we have to say, the biggest athlete in terms of transcending in the United States, probably Noah Lyles might be a little bit bigger. But the most well-known woman on the women's side found herself running, very fast, quite fast, 104 miles there. Then involved Kristen Coleman. Even TT Terry got into the mix, although she wasn't charged with anything. How do we square that one, Leighton? I don't...
Look, I feel sorry for Sha'Carri, honestly, because she is immensely talented. We saw her run 10.75 in her freshman year at LSU, went pro, comes through, wins World Championships in 2023 in Budapest. In between, there are so many disastrous things that have plagued this girl. The weed thing, then she beat up Coleman at the airport, get locked up, and now she's facing prison.
Yeah.
Because the rules in Florida now, anything over 100 miles an hour, at the discretion of the judge, is a minimum of 30 days in prison and a $500 fine.
Right.
So she's not going to be skating out of this one. She's going to go to court is next week, I think.
I imagine soon, yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think it's somewhere about February 7th. I don't remember what it did. Because tonight my brain not working properly tonight. But you are in Florida. Well, you're telling me you do not know that the laws in Florida have changed since they came into effect January 1st. That's all.
Yeah.
Where
recently,
if you're driving
about 50, I think, or so.
Yeah, over 50 first of all.
Yeah.
And then if you're driving over 100 miles an hour, it is mandatory to go to prison. Right? Mandatory. And then she'll tell the policeman some things that I don't understand.
Low tire pressure.
Yeah, and then she had the 100 from 4, which tells the policeman, she had drive a defective vehicle. 2, she said to him, I hope you can work with me. And the policeman said, what do you mean by work with you? She should have just keep her mouth shut and say, sir, I apologize. And then we'll go to prison because that's the law now. That's not, I don't think the policeman had any leeway to say, okay, you can get off with a ticket or a fine. The law says you go to prison. So what she's hoping for now is that a judge finds it within his heart to say, you're a public figure. I don't think she can claim a clean record anymore. But you can't feel sorry if you take 5 days in prison and go about it. I'm thinking she's going to get the maximum, especially if they take into consideration what happened was it Oregon last year?
In Oregon, yeah. No, well, I think it was in Denver, actually in Denver.
Yeah, Denver, yeah.
Yes. They were on their way to Oregon. Yeah.
They were on their way to Oregon, yeah.
Yeah.
So, those things are not secrets anymore because it was all over the media.
Right.
And if the prosecution on this situation looks at it and says, this girl is dysfunctional, she don't think she must obey laws, she thinks she's bigger than any laws in America, notwithstanding what's happening on a larger scale, the fact is that she's broke the law, and the law says maximum of 30 days in prison, $500 fine. Sha'Carri needs somebody around her to say, listen, cut out the foolishness, focus on what you need to focus on. Track and field has made you a lot of money. Focus on that. Right. I think she's surrounding herself with people who are yes people. And Kristen Coleman should know better. I think he's older than she is. And he's there
he's
with
been a
with
pro
drug
for a while.
Yeah,
we need to talk about that too. But
drug paraphernalia, dog. No, man. I mean, this is not the stuff that the US. Look, the sport is already struggling in the United States to find relevance.
Right.
These stories, while they put you guys into the public space and keeps track and field up there somewhere in the headlights, it's for the wrong reasons. It does not help the sport at all. And look, and while Sha'Carri has been a train wreck, we've seen situations with she and my Jamaican hurdler girl, over the years, that dysfunctional relationship that was in the media every week, and then she bounced back and then gone off the rails again with that thing with Christian last year. And now this, I mean, somebody needs, I don't know who her manager is or who her agent is. I think it's at HSI she's at now. I think Emmanuel them need to sit her down and say, listen, cut out the foolishness. You cannot keep doing this, And the reality is that, especially now, that she's not the big dog in the camp anymore. Because Melissa Jefferson is the big dog in the camp now. 100-meter champion, 200-meter world champion, 4x1 world champion. 10:61, 21:6. Time that Sha'Carri has not yet delivered in her career. And she's been at it longer than Melissa. She now has to find a way to make herself relevant in the right way by running fast, exciting track and field audiences like she did back in 2023 in Budapest. But these stories, man, listen, man, it hurts me because it's kind of like, you remember X?
Yeah.
Xavier?
Mm-hmm. Super talented.
Yeah, super talented, brother. He was one of the first guys after Michael Johnson for 19.6.
19.6, yeah.
Yeah. And he was a great at 200, was great at 400, he could do anything. And then just went off the rails. All of this talent, it hurts me to see it's being wasted in this way because people either lack the discipline or lack the support around them that keeps them disciplined and keeps them focused. It's disturbing, man. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's a lot of comments coming through. I mean, I hope she doesn't serve any time. I hope I suspect it might, it's not, you don't want to get into the law for those reasons. Perhaps she probably might lose her driver's license for a while too.
Yeah, she might lose her driver's license.
Yeah. So I hope she finds her way because last year wasn't a spectacular year for her. She started the season clearly late with injury, ended up with a gold medal in the 4x1, but it is a lot of promise there and a lot of eyes watching. We saw the story going into the Tokyo Olympics and not getting there because of recreational drug use there. Those, you just don't want to do that. Some people are commenting that Nike still run a promotion after Worlds, so they don't think it might be an issue. But at some point, sponsors get fed up, right? Whether it's Sprite. Yeah. I don't know if she has a Sprite contract. She may have one.
I think so. I think she has. Yeah, Nike. She has Sprite and one of the companies.
Nike. At some point, they'll get upset. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're hurting your brands.
Yeah. And if they don't win, and if you're not winning either, in the sense that if you're injured or not winning anymore, it's easy to cut you on these things. Now, I want to talk about Coleman. I'm a bit upset with this one. So we understand the sport, and I'm a purist on this part of the sport, and I don't expect everyone to support this. I think you might be in the same camp. Yeah, people can take recreational things if it's not performance enhancing, as long as it's out of competition. If you take it in competition, it's a different story. There's levels, especially when it comes to marijuana and how much is supposed to be in your system. I fundamentally think that if you're an athlete, you should not be taking anything. I think sport is beyond that. There's the spirit, there's an ethical code, there's a bigger thing for why we have the Olympics. And I'm not talking about the commercialization part of the sport. I'm talking about the original spirit of this. And it's not something that you want to do. I think about the role model relationship that athletes have, whether they want to believe they impact other people, they do. I just think it's not something you should have. So when you come to the scene, which I suspect he came to assist or just to watch or find out what's happening, you get into trouble, and they're claiming that there are things in your car that you should not be having. I don't think. That one I think was really surprising to me, and it begs the question, like, why? Why are you doing that? And
but here's the thing, though. Even if you're doing that, right? Your girlfriend calls you and says, "Yo, police stop her, and she'll go to prison. And come, please help me." Brother, you jump in your car with a drug thing in your car and go there. With the likelihood
maybe he wasn't thinking straight.
And that's the thing, they're not thinking. if me have bought some, I could have a weed pipe and me I do a thing and my wife you come and say, let me not trouble police stop me on the road. And me say so. No, me I throw that not even go nowhere, no my Clark care, nowhere at all. Me I bathe and wash off everything and nobody must even smell nothing from me before you go there. Because here's the thing, and this is the reality of it, in especially in America. If you're black, the laws apply to you differently. Right? That's just a straight fact. It's not innuendo, it's not a satire, it's just fact. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where what you think is a minor thing becomes a major thing. You have to be aware of your space. You have to be aware of the things that you're getting involved in. You have to be aware of the circumstances surrounding your existence as a black man in America, especially Florida. So it's like the whole of them just walking around like zombies. I don't get it. You have to have your head screwed on to you somewhere along the way. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much success you have. You have to have your head screwed on. We've seen bigger stars in America fall. Right. We've seen Carl Lewis become a pariah for a time. I don't know what it is now. He was probably the biggest track and field star in American history, other than Jesse Owens. We've seen no names come to mind, but there are other stories where black athletes get them.
Yeah, there's a lot of demise. The NFL, even the big sports, even the hegemonic
NBA get all the time. These guys get into trouble for reasons that boggle my mind.
Right.
You are making millions of dollars. If I was let them shoot, and I'm telling you this, and it's not a situation where I'm thinking that if it happens, I would change. Because success and wealth do not change you, they expose who you really are. Right. That's how I see it. So if you are a success, like if I was playing basketball, for example, and making $50 million a year, I'd be done, go my yard and be done, got my bed, I'm not going nowhere because people are always looking to get you. You're too big for your britches. You hear people tell LeBron, just shut up and dribble.
Right.
You don't want to put yourself into circumstances where it gives the people who are out to get you the opportunity to get you. And Christian Coleman, Sha'Carri Richardson, and all these other people who live in a country right now that is at the very best right now is very chaotic.
Right.
You don't want to put yourself in a position where these things are going to happen to you. Yeah. I don't know who is guiding these people, but somebody needs to put a foot down and say, listen, just chill.
Yeah.
Chill. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed. We have a very strong rivalry with the American athletes.
Right.
And I'm sure there are a lot of Jamaicans right now who are laughing about this and thinking, yeah.
No, there's nothing to laugh about, though.
There's nothing to laugh about. To me, it's heartbreaking when some of the best talents in the world find themselves in circumstances where they're shooting themselves in the foot. Because look, Sha'Carri, if she gets 30 days in prison, it impacts her season in some way. Because then she won't get to train. She's going to literally start from scratch because you stop training for a month.
Right.
I think she's out on $500 bond because I think that wasn't bond on the thing. But so she's going to train and then she go court. And chances are she's going to get some time in prison. That impacts everything that she had planned to do for the season. Because she's going to be sitting idle in prison. She won't be able to train. So whenever she gets out, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, she's going to have to start back from where she was coming from, which impacts her ability to perform at the level that she could perform. And look, I want to see her back. I want to see her go up against Melissa Jefferson, feel that rivalry inside of that camp as Star Athletics. I want to see her go up against the Clayton twins. I want to see her go up against Julian Alfred. I want to see that kind of thing in this year when outside the Commonwealth Games is the Ultimate Championships. I don't even know what to expect from that right now. But I want to see them on Diamond in circuit. I want to see them race. I want to know that Sha'Carri and Julian and Melissa and Sharika and Tina and Tia and Dina are going to line up in 100 in Rome or in London somewhere. I don't want to hear say, Sha'Carri in a prison, so she can't race. I don't want to hear that. I want to see the best take on the best. That's what the sport needs, and that's what I like to see. And then this girl keeps shooting herself in the foot for reasons that are boggle my mind. I'm getting upset because it annoys me.
No, I know what you're saying.
Because it has to stop somewhere. She's not 15, you're not 16, she's at least 25 years old.
Yeah.
At some point you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, listen, Sha'Carri, get your act together. We need to make some money and then so that when I retire in 5 or 6 years or whatever it is, that I can live my life comfortably with a good legacy behind. Not the legacy of being in prison every 5 minutes.
No, I guess I agree with you. I think you never wish injury on athletes. You always want everybody to be healthy at the right time. It's never that way, obviously, because that's sport. But you also never want people to be in trouble. You want them to be there. And when you're extremely talented, you never want it to happen to anybody, but you certainly don't want it to happen to the very best of the very best, because they're there to carry the sport. And she has to recognize some point. I hope she'll, family or other people who might be authority figure or whom she might respect and step in. Perhaps, I don't know what she does. I don't know if she sees a sports psychologist or any kind of psychologist, but there needs to be a change in terms of your behavior. You need to lay low. You need to just focus on track and field, because it's not only the money is there, obviously, but I'm sure when people look back on what they've done, when you say, what is your legacy? The legacy is an interesting thing. If we look back at you and you only won a couple gold medals or 1 gold medal here and some relay medals. For some athletes, you might look back on that and say that was a fabulous career. For others, you say,
but for some like her, it's underachievement. And you're telling me that spending a night in prison in Denver last year didn't teach her anything?
Yeah.
You could see the fear in her eyes and hear it in her voice when the policeman said she's going to jail.
Yeah.
Which means she recollects what it was like last year when she went to jail. And you're telling me so that wasn't instructive enough for you to understand that going to jail is not something that you like or something that you should aspire to? No, man. Somebody needs to slap her upside the head and say, listen, just get your house in order.
No, about that part, but I hope she gets a wake-up call for sure in terms of this is it. I mean, we saw, and not to bring up another athlete, but we saw, even Fred, who went through a couple different situations. I mean, he finally got out of his end. But it's you don't want to see that happen. But we wish them the very best. I certainly don't want to see athletes mucking around with recreational stuff too. It's just leave that stuff alone. I mean, I think focus on what you have to do and get the very best out of your career.
When I've always felt, you talk about drugs. When my guys and I were running at cast, when guys were at cast back in the day, none of them drank alcohol, not even alcohol. Now I see athletes at parties that imbibe large volumes of alcohol that dehydrate your body and put your body at greater risk for injury. I don't understand it. It's like them don't understand. They don't understand how lucky they are to be doing the things and getting the opportunities that they've gotten because of their talents. And they're taking it for granted. But after you retire, man, you can't go drink as much liquor as you want, burn as much weed as you want. Sorry, I want to sneeze. So, just you have a small window. Cash in, and when you cash in, then you can do what you want to do, as long as it's legal. But don't put yourself in a circumstances where you're in and out of prison like a revolving door. That don't make sense. That don't make no sense to me.
Certainly don't make sense. Anyway, it's been a little bit over an hour. Leighton, it's good to be in conversation with you. Thanks everybody for coming through. There's a bunch of comments that we didn't get to, but we'll try it again, and lots of track and field happening in the weeks to come. Leighton and I will be back. Don't worry.
We'll be back. We'll be back. Of course,
and also, don't forget to support by subscribing to his channel, subscribing to mine if you haven't. There's a bunch of new videos out on Leighton's channel as well too. So make sure you go and check them out. And we have some stuff out too. So when you're bored, you go over to Mr. Analyst channel or you stay on Sports Talk Tech. All right. Good seeing everybody. All right. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
All right.